I have screen. Are we here? All right. Yay. Phew. Dang. That was so bad. That tanked so bad that I like couldn't even run a speed test. Lord. Oh, Comcast. Why? All right, let's paint while we can. I am. Yeah. Oof. That was rough, guys. It was super rough. I'm going to put, since I'm waiting still for my green to dry over here, I'm going to put another coat on this. But you can see that it's pretty solid. Like, I need a little touch up. So I'll just grab. Sometimes for this, I'll even thin my metallics more. And sometimes I'll use the previous coat and I'll just go over just the spots where I see it's a little thin. I don't really go over it like with a super thick coat. Usually. I just want to get a nice solid. And I don't really need a really, notice the difference here. See that? That's where that green was. It goes nice and solid over that. I don't really need like a super opaque base coat. You just need it to really like look at it and say, okay, yeah, that's there it is. And if you've got a little green showing in the cracks, that's fine. You're going to be doing washes over it that turn it into this. So you really just need it to mostly be there. All right, we're going to just run for it. We're going to assume that Comcast is done with its hissy fits. We're just going to go. Yeah, thanks for holding on, guys. Unfortunately, Comcast is the best thing we have right now, although somebody just is talking about... Somebody just put in Fios. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to David. I would like Fios. Oh, yeah, there's a special website. That doesn't surprise me. I'm just peeved because we have had just fine internet for months. And now suddenly, boom! It's just blowing up all this week. I just don't get it. It annoys me very greatly because I, you know, having you guys on here is a start to my day. I enjoy it. It's a fun thing. And then I lose it. And then I don't get my, like, happy, you know, upper from being on with you guys. I get all grumpy. Nobody likes a grumpy Ann. Upgrading their net. Yeah, Marlith for sure. Upgrading the network. Yeah, upgrading to crap. I mean, I'm a realist, and I know these companies all suck, but I get disgruntled. When it's your livelihood, you get disgruntled. Yeah, I don't know. Our neighborhood is pretty full, Robin. Like it's a residential neighborhood. We have a couple of apartment complexes, but they're very small. So I have no idea who pissed off the internet gods, but it was really annoying. All right, so we've got a nice solid bright coat, and you can see the big difference here. This has 2 layers of wash on it, but it started out this exact color. So I like having that contrast to look at. All right, the other side is pretty dry, so I'm going to go for it. And I use a lot of paint on my brush when I base coat. All right, we're going to start here. And again, I'm going to start here on the inside of the leg. I'm going to leave that edge. I don't care if it dries because that's in the underside of the model. So if I do get any overlap or weirdness, nobody's going to see it. If you can put it up against like one edge of one plate. And that'll help. If you use a lot of paint, you can avoid brush strokes even more because a lot of paint will definitely self-level. It'll flow together. And again, because you're thinning it with water, you don't run into the issue with it drying, like cracked, dried lake effect. You should be just fine. Water is the great equalizer there. It gives it enough fluid that you don't see. What causes that, what causes the dried lake effect, is that the top of the paint dries faster than the underside. And so then the underside being still fluid, it causes cracks as everything starts to dry unequally. But when you're using water in your paint, that adds enough fluid that's always evaporating through the top of your paint that it slows down that process. Everything dries a little bit more evenly, and also it tends to be a little bit of a thinner application, a thinner coat, right? So that also fights against your paint being thick enough to have that effect. Now, when you do thin your paint and you're applying it fast, like I am, you will get some bubbles, little bubbles. Just blow on them. They'll pop. You have to blow a couple of times, but you'll be okay. Uh-oh, I'm running out of paint. Now, this is a problem, but I think we'll be okay. I might have to mix up another blob of it for reapplication. But I can leave it a little thinner up here and we'll be okay. Shoom, there we go. Okay, so that's a good first coat. Like, it's bright. That's great. That's what I want. Top end of season up, and I had to change my plan to get the new top speed. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Honestly, if you really wanted a crackle look, I'd just use paint that's meant to do that, Merilith. There are plenty of companies, like Games Workshop sells a crackle paint that's finer. You generally don't want to do it otherwise. There's also crackle medium out there that you can buy and add to paint to cause it to do that. I wouldn't try to force a paint to do it without using a medium that's intended for that, because you get inconsistent results. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of crack and sometimes you'll get not anything. So get a crackle medium and test it with your paint to see what kind of effect it gives. Some of them are going to crackle very fine. Some of them are going to crackle a lot bigger. Some are going to leave a thicker texture. Some are going to leave a thinner texture. Depends on the paint you use it with. But yeah, just use a crackle medium if you really want that. I don't like it. I would rather like sculpt the crackle onto it or paint freehand the crackle onto it. I don't like some of the random effects. I don't think I would really enjoy, but yeah, GW does it. They produce the product, the crackle paint, because they do it for like basing. So if you want that effect on your bases, you can just buy that crackle product, or you can just buy the craft store one. But the GW one is very fine. I'll give them that. It is a very fine crackle, so it tends to look in scale for 28 mil. Yeah, pretty much terrain. That's it. Like bases. Like if you've got an army that's a desert army and you don't want to do a lot of basing work, using a crackle would be perfect. Yeah, I don't know. Shattered stone, I think, benefits from more meticulous. I mean, I guess you could get a rough idea of it. It really depends on how tight, or are you just doing gaming models, or are you doing a display piece? If I'm doing a display piece, I'm going to sculpt that shattered stone. I'm going to put the time into it and make it look cool rather than depending on a randomized effect. I find that I get better results like with that kind of thing if I can do it the way I want it. But yeah, totally with I guess mosaics, yeah, it makes sense. But I mean, this guy has his mosaics and they're sculpted, you know. So I don't know. It depends on if you want a fast effect that you can work with, in which case the crackle paints totally are good for that, or can be good for that. I mean, the bottom line is experiment, and if you like the effect, rock it. Like, that is always what I stand here, and I'll go back again to it. I am definitely, like, somebody, I try a lot of things, but I definitely like things a certain way. So I'll tell you what I would do, but then if you try it and you like it, and it's different than from what I would do, just go with it. All of us are different, and that's what makes painters, you know, creates painters with different styles and different takes on things, and makes all of our expertise valuable. The way that you tackle a problem may be absolutely the opposite from the way I do, but it's totally valid, and if it looks great, who cares? You run with Golden, yeah, traditional artist brand. Totally makes sense. Yeah, and again, it's all like everybody uses something different. And if you've got a particular style, say that you are a heavy wet palette user and you want your paint to be thicker because you want more texture, then maybe MSP isn't the brand for you. Or if you're a wet blender, like you like to set everything up with wet blends, MSP may not be the brand for you to start out with. Although a lot of my wet blender friends start with a different brand but then move to MSP if they need to layer. So, you know, I used to call this being a mercenary painter. Back before I worked for Reaper, I used everything. And most of you do. And you should. Like, working with different lines and different products and learning what their strengths and weaknesses are is the way you get better. Like, you learn a lot about the paint, you learn a lot about yourself and what you like and what you don't like, and the techniques that work for you that, you know, make you unique. And you'll come out of it with an appreciation for all of the products and what they're good and bad at. And, you know, a real idea of the direction you would like to go in and the products you enjoy using. And I mean, this is our hobby. It's all about enjoying the process. Even for me, as someone who makes her living in this hobby, I still enjoy the process. All right, so just putting that final coat, and now it's really solid over here. That's tight. Hey there, Luca. How's it going? Alpaca Nation President, right? That's your title? President of the Alpaca Nation. Although if it's not a democracy, maybe president is the wrong term. Right, exactly. So you get it, Marlith, then. It's like every paint is good for different things. Like, I really like, in my own painting, more and more, I do like to reach for those Scale 75 Scale Color Artist tube paints, but I always, like, go back to MSP when I need to do, like, fine work, detailing, layering, stuff like that. It's like everybody's got a different skill set. Yes, we're base coating and talking about the greater, like, you know, greater miniature painting. But yeah, I mean, I picked up a bunch of Liquitex mediums a couple months ago just to play with them. Like the stuff to build up like textures and almost sculpting, the heavy gels, you know, just because I wanted to play with them and see what I could do with them on miniatures. Sovereign. Ah, yes, yes. Luca's nose is the president. I see. Not a cult at all. Ah, methinks he protesteth too much. Is your icon the golden alpaca? All right. So yeah, just setting up a nice solid coat on the metals, and then we can start throwing everything but the kitchen sink at them. Although I'm still a little green over here. You can see the difference between the two coats and the one coat. Oh, rating. Hello, Maharoon. Hey, been a long time. How are you? Oh, hold on, Marilith. I can show you that. I kept that troll. And since we're waiting for this to dry, let's talk about the troll. 1 second. Hey, rock troll, come here. All right, this is rock troll. Meet rock troll. Rock troll we painted, oh gosh. Oh, I didn't date him. I finished him last year, I think. Let me back up. So that's Rock Troll. He's fun. He was very fun. I wanted to do the dramatic lighting effect on him, and he worked out very well for that. So if you do want to practice something like the drama, like this is good. I also painted this entirely with wet palette, no well, and I zenith primed it. Or no, did I? No, I didn't. I just did it. That's right, I did it freehand. Oof. What was in me? But yeah, he works pretty well. And the gemstones turned out nicely. Up there, close up. Could do a little bit more detailing on the bigger ones. But yeah, he turned out well. He turned out well. I love his color. My fiance hates him because he hates green. He didn't want me to keep it because he's like, it's too green. But I love the green. And actually, I love the warmer colors that I got on like the dirty loincloth, leather, and the bone. So he's actually really good. Yeah, it's all paint magic at that point. It's going to be like you're using NMM and OSL and transparent effects. It's the problem with a Rocky is that all the scales are tiny. So using Rocky, his scales are pretty small, but you would have to paint each scale as if it was translucent. So you'd have to have the light pooling, but then you'd have to look at it like overall too, right? That's the problem with organic, like dragons and stuff, painting them like they're NMM or like they're gems. Because then wouldn't this whole thing be gemstone? Or, you know, you got to decide if the whole haunch is going to be kind of translucent or if each little scale is going to be a gem. And if you're painting each little scale as a gem, it's going to be much easier to convey the effect on these big guys. It's going to be a lot harder to do on the little guys, and you'll end up just really like following the general rules for the little stuff. It really does help if you have some big stuff to really sell the effect. So if you did that, Marlith, I would consider actually sculpting some bigger, craggier gems on a couple of areas of the Rocky. There is a gemstone dragon. I don't know where I put my copy of it that I actually did start on with orange crystals. But the gemstone dragon would be kind of a good project to learn that on. That's a Reaper piece, I think from Bones 4, right, guys? Oh, I like the orange fleshiness of him. I think I like it a lot. But you know what? This is like some of you won't like it, and I love it. So, ta-da! But yeah, you just got to do you. But yeah, so the amethyst, really, it's what you want to start studying is direction of light. If you're very good at light direction and portraying it, then you're halfway to being able to do like a gemstone Rocky. Okay, Troll, back up with you. Yeah. Oh, we still haven't seen the gemstone dragon released? Okay. That's a bummer. I'm gonna just put a touch up on the side of this to bring it up to the other ones. But yeah, gemstones are kind of, I feel like they're a pinnacle. First, you need to learn directional lighting, really to the point where, you know, you can at least be relatively strong at it. Second, it helps to understand the difference between surfaces, metal objects versus translucent objects, how that works. Look at a lot of pictures of different things online and in person and kind of try to get a sense for how light passes through or bounces off, because you're going to be using that when you're painting gemstones. You need to create the illusion of that, and that means you need to understand how the light is acting on those surfaces. That's why I say it's kind of a pinnacle, meaning that's like one of the last things you master. You work your way through other stuff. I suppose there's probably somebody out there who just has like this, snaps onto how to do gemstones and like manages to pull it off right away. But in my experience, it helps if you have those other stepping stones in place first. So that when you come up against a difficult surface, like an organic object that you're trying to paint as a gemstone, you can troubleshoot and have it look right. Honestly, there are parts, even now with me, oh, I put her away, like my Templar that I was working on with Sky, Earth, and MM. And there were times that I had to stop and actually question, like stop and kind of go through all the steps in my head, because she's got really elaborate armor, to just ask myself, okay, what's the realistic reflection going to be here? Because even with my knowledge of NMM at this point and the ability to do gemstones and transparent objects, that armor was so complicated, it stopped me cold. I had to stop and just take myself through the steps. And that's why I say that first work on lighting, then work on surfaces, then start to really work on like NMM and translucency. Those are your steps. So it's not undoable. But if you want to be able to solve problems when you're painting and do it in a correct manner instead of just half-assing it and hoping it's right, which, you know, nothing wrong with that if you just want to do that, but it might not look right. But yeah, if you want to do it, try to build your knowledge base. Build from a solid foundation. Oh, Gemstone Dragon was Bones 5? Yeah, they get it right, perfect right out of the box. Yeah, except, you know, even those people, the people who get it perfect right out of the box, either one, they lucked out and then they can't ever reproduce it until they do learn the steps. Because that happens. Sometimes, because we all know what things should look like, right? We've looked at crystal things. We've looked at shiny rocks. We've looked at metals. We've seen these things as we've grown up. And so our subconscious mind has an idea of how it should look. So sometimes somebody not overthinking that will just, luck onto it. They'll do it right. They'll just kind of follow their gut and it will be correct. But they won't be able to tell you how they did it or why they did it. And then if they try to do it again, they may overthink it and just not, have any real understanding of how to pull it off again. So if you want to be able to paint it with confidence, troubleshoot your results, and be able to even explain how you did it, then start with a solid foundation. But I have run into people like that. Like you see them at mini painting competitions, and they'll have a part of something painted really well, and then another part will be totally wrong. And as far as physics goes, and you'll be like, so why did you paint it this way? And they'll be like, I have no idea. So yeah. Oh, Rocky shows up as in stock for USA. Okay. But yeah, otherwise I think that the get it perfect right out of the box type is kind of a myth. Kind of with it's in the same class as the overnight success myth, where somebody nails something with no work, just because they maybe got lucky. And what you usually don't see is all the work and experience behind that. So somebody who comes up, if you go up to somebody who did a great paint effect, and you say, oh wow, this is awesome, and they say, yeah, it's the first time I ever did it. I ever tried it. What you're not seeing, and I've said this to people before about certain things because I've tried things for the first time and had them come off great. But what you don't see is the over 2 decades of serious painting experience I have, and all the time I spent learning NMM and trying to struggle with lighting and working on different surfaces and organic objects and inorganic objects and all the rest of it, all the just general experience I have that led to me being able to just say, oh, I'm going to do this. I think I know how it works, and being able to pull it off. So I don't like those myths, because it implies then when you do it, if you try it and you don't hit it right away, you feel bad. And I'd rather tell people, I'd rather set you up for success. I'd rather say, hey, spend a little time really studying lighting because it's fascinating. And surfaces, because that's fascinating too. And textures versus shiny objects, that's super fascinating. All this stuff, it isn't like it's a barrier to you learning to do gemstones. All of it is interesting. It's not the thing you want to do right now, but it's interesting and it'll get you there. That's the way that I tend to look at it. That would be fraught with peril, Twistonoma. Trying to do Caphryxis as gemstone, super advanced. 2 words, super advanced. Organic painting, and people want to do this to dragons all the time. Paint them as gemstones or paint them as metallic. So difficult. So advanced. Super advanced. So not saying you shouldn't do it. Not saying you shouldn't try it. Be aware that it is a real mare's nest. I would hesitate. I would do it if there was enough of a motivation, but I would do it on a small dragon, as small as I could, and try it and learn from my mistakes, because there will be mistakes. Right, yeah, you can first time lucky, and then but what you should do then, if you've done it, is then go the long way around, Dabber, right? Okay, I did this, I pulled it off, it worked. Why did it work? Ask an experienced painter, hey, so I pulled off this NMM effect. Why does it look so good? Like, what's working? What is working? Have them break it down for you. Then, using that, look at examples in the real world, try to do it again based on what they told you, the fundamentals that are working. So then you have your example right in front of you. You've done it once. You understand how at least that surface or that thing worked, and then you can try to duplicate it and then work from there. Yeah. Start small. I mean, have fun, and if you want to just do it, because fun. But if you get frustrated, if you start to feel like you're not a good painter, or you start to feel that frustration, put it away, let it go. Don't let it really get to you. That's my only request. I exist to try to keep you guys from getting frustrated with the hobby. The reason I answer questions nonstop on this show is so that you can avoid frustration and enjoy your hobby without the poison that frustration can bring to it. And also to tell you that it's okay to fail and to learn and to not be perfect right away. Like, all of these things. This is such a wonderful hobby for relaxation and for just like detoxing and for having fun and meeting awesome people. And you can even turn it into a really good side gig if you want to. Painting miniatures is a great part-time job. There are a lot of people who want stuff painted that don't have the time to do it themselves. But yeah, just avoid the horribleness of frustration and, feeling bad about yourself. Don't ever let it do that. It should be your joy. It should be your place for joy. So that's why I say what I say. Ooh, shiny. We have shiny boots. All right, cool. What do we got? Yeah, we got time. Where's my first wash? Wash time. I believe you used pine green. A lovely color, which I adore. Where is it? It's gotten mixed up with my jungle moss. There it is. Pine green, one of the first greens I ever made. I actually made it to look a lot like Games Workshop Dark Angels green of the time. So if you like that dark, rich, warm green that Dark Angels green is, this is close. Of course, they've changed all their colors since then, so. Oh, come on, Cornico. Yeah, Cornico for sure. Yeah, it's a wonderful green. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to try something really ambitious, the best thing I can say, tell yourself, I'm just going to try to paint the foot, or I'm just going to try to paint the head, or I'm just going to try to paint the shoulder. Just do a little and just give yourself permission to just try it and see. And then if it totally disheartens you, then, okay, just back away from it and say, okay, I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to learn a little more, come back to this. There is no shame in retreat to fight another day. And if you succeed, awesome. Try to apply that. Do another foot, do a haunch, do a neck, keep trying to do it and try to understand why it's working. Try to do that. So just because you're trying something out, don't stop studying the fundamentals. Like, don't stop looking at how light falls while you're trying to do this. Do it at the same time and try to integrate that knowledge into what you're doing. Come on, green. There we go. So we're going to mix a lovely, lovely metallic wash using gloss sealer. Mine is the original prototype. Come on, gloss. Oh, it needs a poke. And then I'm going to add water and a little bit of, there we go. We had a little bit of a jam. But first we're going to do sealer. Come on, sealer. 1, 2. It's goopy. It needs some water added to it. 3, 4. Oh, it's so goopy. Yeah, I need to add water to this. This is a very old bottle since it's from back when we were first starting to find a prototype for our gloss sealer. And it definitely needs some water in it. Actually, you know what? While I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to do that right now. So, open up your bottle. Grab a bottle of water. I keep a bottle of water around all the time. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 drops. There are about 400 drops in this bottle. So when you put 20 drops in, you are essentially replacing a very small percent. Anybody want to do the math? With water. So essentially you're replacing evaporation. And shake it up really well. And it will help keep your paint good for years. But I do 20 drops. When I notice that a paint has thickened, yeah, 20 drops out of 400. Yep. Yeah, you're right. 1/20th. So what, 5%? All right, now I need my water back. But yeah, I usually do 20 drops. I shake it up, and that's going to be sufficient to resuscitate that paint for a while. If I still notice it's a little thick, I may add a little bit more. It depends on how much I want to tune my tune it in the bottle. Yeah, maybe 20 out of 200. It's I would say it's at least 2/3 full. But either way, even if it's 20 out of 200 and it's 10%, that's still not going to break anything. You could probably replace 5 to 10% of paint with water, and all you'll notice is it's a little bit smoother. It's a little more, fluid. It might lose a little coverage depending on the color, but not a lot. All right, so what I've done is essentially a 4-2, 4-2-1, which is what I do with washes these days. So in this case, it's 2 drops of pine green, 8 drops of gloss sealer, specifically for metallics gloss, not the regular, because I want to keep my shinies. A little bit of shinies anyway. And then 4 drops of water. So normally it would be 1 drop of paint, 4 drops of sealer, 2 drops of water. And then, because this is metallic, a little bit of the metal in the mix. Now this is reading as pretty goopy, I can see right out the bat, and that's because I used that very, very goopy gloss that had evaporated a bit. So I can feel that it's a bit gummy right out the gate, so I am going to drop another drop of water in it. I don't want to thin it too much because I want it to hold together well. Yeah, I think that'll work. We'll try it on a little piece, and then if we don't like it, we will thin it more. All right, let's try it on the toes. And I'm going to take off the excess. You can see it's kind of goopy. It's really thick as it's going on. It's not thin, which is going to make it stick in the cracks. It almost looks like verdigris. And I feel like it's actually a little bit, it's just not quite the right consistency. Yeah, I think that gloss sealer may have kind of been messed up our wash a little. But you know what? We can work with it. I'm going to put it thinner over here and kind of look at it. Because it's not coloring everything as much as it did before. I think I essentially loaded like twice the sealer into it by using the really thick sealer. So, okay, let's try that again in a different way. This time, here's my acid pink Maldracar. All right, and yeah, my gloss is a little bit better now. I'm just gonna do a little bit of that. Pretty strong stuff. Water. Ah, there. I'm gonna actually invert my formula and see what I can do. So going 2 to 4 instead. That looks like it might be a little better. Certainly a lot stronger. And darker. Yep. Yeah, see, it's too much gloss. Big difference there, right? This one's like holding on, but it's only barely holding on. This one looks a lot better. Yeah. So this one, my thick gloss sealer has somewhat betrayed me, but that's fine. We can let our toothpaste toes dry, and then we can add a little bit more. You're crazy, but not white primer crazy. I have no idea, Fendrake. Previous year of RCL submissions channel was archived. That's cool. Where do you go to look at it, Quindy? Or is it not available to look at and we just start a new one? I personally like white primer. I tend to always paint my competition models in white primer unless they're busts. Then I like to do sketch. All right, so I like this, so let's keep going with it. Where am I gonna start? Here. Remember, you want the wash to pool. You don't want it to be thin. You want it to globulate all over. You can always wick off the excess. You want it to flow. Do a lot of it. And do not, like, other than going back to pull maybe a little of the really, really big puddles off, do not go back to touch up. Just keep going. Now, it will pool down toward the bottom, so give it a moment. Blow off any bubbles. You will probably get bubbles if you're going fast. Yeah, that's what I want. I want that greenish tinge. See how that changes the color of the metallic. That's what we want. And I'm going to take off, I've rinsed out my brush, and I'm going to take off some of the biggest pools. Oh, I like the unforgivingness of it. I like it because I like keeping the brightness and saturation of my colors. I don't like all the extra work I have to do over black primer. But that is me. Also, I have a hard time seeing details on black primer. So that's like that was the first reason I kind of stopped using black primer back in the long ago days. So notice how different. Like, notice how cold. This is what I wanted to see. That was what that other wash wasn't doing for me because I just had over-thinned it with a very goopy sealer that I then had to add more water to. Might be able to bring that back by adding more paint to it, but I think I'm just going to go with what I've mixed up here. Don't worry if you've got some puddles like up on surfaces. You can totally put your metallic over the top of that and bring it down. It's not a big deal. Plus, maybe on the bottoms of his feet, we'll do a bit of weathering anyway, so it doesn't matter. But that's what I want. I want to see that color shift. I want to cool it down. Now it really looks like greenish, like bronze that's starting to discolor. That's where we're going. And then we're going to put brown on top of that even to shift the color again. Actually, this foot isn't looking terrible. It's just not looking great. It's not as cold as this other foot. I got a lot of puddles around the toes. I'm going to take some of those off. You want to take the puddles off before things start to really dry. There was a lot of paint there, so I was pretty sure I was safe that it wasn't even starting to dry yet. But if you do try to take it up once it's started to get tacky, it will cause big brush marks and pits, which are make you sad moments as a painter. So, yeah, I think we're good. That leg is good. I also have a spare Maldricar, but I'm holding off on that sucker. This year I did tell myself I would make an effort to work with the airbrush more. And that's what would get me to actually start a Mal, is to get the airbrush up and running and figure out the base coat for what I have in mind. But dragons, I've having painted many of Reaper's dragons in the past for my job, I am well aware of how much work a dragon is to do well. And so starting Maldricar would be a huge commitment. There will be a moment when I am like ready for it and really in the mood for it. And that'll be the moment I have to seize. All right, so again, just putting a ton of wash over the surface here. Just a ton. To get that green shift. Yeah, I have an in-house assistant, i.e. fiance, who knows how to airbrush much better than I do, Marilith. So happily, it should go a little better than that. Also, I have many friends who know how to airbrush and who will help me. Oh, hey, I have a brush with an errant hair I can demo. I always love it when I have a brush with an errant hair. Let's see if we can get that errant hair to show up. Let's see here. There, you see it. See that little hair sticking out the side? Let's see, let's get into frame. Yeah, there we go. So when you have an errant hair, take your X-Acto knife, tease out the hair from the rest of its friends, gently. Bring it down to the bottom of the ferrule, or the top of the ferrule. Make sure you don't get anybody else in there. And then snip it off. Ta-da! Perfect brush. That is how you remove an errant hair. Do not pull it out. Do not otherwise try to tug at it or do anything weird. Snip it off with as little to do as possible, and you will have a lovely brush again without an errant hair. And you will not have disturbed the way the hairs are all laid out inside the ferrule, which is key to keeping your brush in good order. All right, let's just grab the Escoda. Questions are flying back and forth to Quindy, and I do not know what. I'm not sure what Thormel's question was, but so while I've got some time here while my wash is drying, I'm going to go up here and finish hitting all these little guys on the waist. So let's back up a little bit. There. So we did make significant progress today. This guy may get a reprieve. The closer you get to done, Like, almost everybody gets that, oh my god, I'm just so sick of this model moment. Can I even? And, I mean, the key is to push through that. And usually when you push through that, you feel so good after you finish it. So, as long as this model is not actively making me hate it while I paint it, it may get finished. But I think I'm going to avoid doing anything this big on the stream again. Or at least this big and elaborate. Like Rock Troll was different because he was a lot faster to paint. Because he was a lot, you know, mostly skin. He didn't have all this filigree and verdigris and crazy stuff going on. But I don't think I'm going to do anything this elaborate on this size again. Because he pretty much took as much time as a dragon would have taken. Actually, a dragon would probably have taken more time, sorry. Unless I rushed it. Unless it was a little dragon. So just putting a thin base coat on it first and then going back over it to make it nice and solid. Because I don't want to load a lot of paint onto the ends of these or it'll kind of get out of control. Nothing big. I think the Hydra in the Greek Odyssey is smaller, as I recall. That's Julie's Hydra though, right? The Garrity Hydra was the old one. That's essentially a dragon. Just no wings. Or a Rocky or something. I mean, I did start a Rocky before, but I was just not, like, thrilled with the one I chose, so he went the way of the dodo. I do have a flying Rocky that I could paint on here. I could dig him out. But it's scales, like it's just tons of scales. What did we do, guys, that was like we did a bunch of scales and then later you were like, no more scales? Maybe I'll do the Hydra because it's the same as a dragon. Just has several heads. Has a lot of scales. Oh, it was maybe the Snake Lady. Snack Lady. That had a lot of scales. Dragons are pretty much infinite scales. You're just signing on for all those scales when you do a dragon. That's why I like a lot of Julie's dragons. They have a lot of bigger scales. And so it's not as many scales and they're more interesting because you can put patterns and like details on them. So Julie's dragon sculpts generally take a lot of the pain out of dragons. Fewer scales to paint and bigger scales that are more interesting. I did Dance of Death ages ago, but yeah, but it was something more recent that we did with scales that people were just like kind of done with it. I don't know if they are important to teach, Shadowraven. I feel that you can cover the techniques used on them on a small model just fine. And then essentially you're just doing more of it when you start a big critter. I feel like the techniques I would use on a small dragon are the same techniques I would use on a big dragon. There would just be more of it. Just got to get these little guys underneath here. Hello, Hash Brown. How's it going? We're almost the end of this stream, but you are welcome to hang out. Yeah, nice little dragons. I'd done feathers twice. most recently on this one, Marlith. We did feathers on Sphinxie. We were working on them for a while. Sphinxie hasn't been on camera for a while. She's very happy to be here. She would like me to zoom out and give a better look at her. Boom. So this is Reaper's awesome Sphinx that Julie sculpted. And I based her on a particular type of hawk. I think it was the African Harrier hawk. So she was a good subject for fur and for feathers. So, and you can find those on YouTube. You can find all the Sphinxie videos are all free to watch on YouTube. I forget what her number, I think I've got her number, 77576. 77576 is Sphinx's number. So if you are wanting to know how I did those feathers, you can go to the Reaper YouTube. Yeah, that's a Patrick Keith sculpt. That would be a minimal draconic thing to do. I did threaten to just do one Maldrakkar head at one point. I could do that. That would be fun. Could just do the head. You'd have to pick a traditional chromatic dragon color though, because I'm painting that Maldrakkar in traditional 5-headed dragon style. There we go. We've got all those little annoying triangles done. At least like first base coat. Kinda. But I don't want to use the dragon bust. I like the mal heads. Like if I was going to do a dragon head on the stream, I would pick one of the mal heads and I would do that. I've got the resin mal, so I've got very nice heads. And I was going to do a little bit of conversion on some of them. So if we did that, which head would you want? Red, blue, green, white, or black? I'd have to dig out the dragon. No. Yeah, Marlith. Actually, let's see here. This guy's a metal. The ogre here is a metal. And this guy's actually a bones. It's not a resin, so it's a bones traditional. And then we also do have a resin model that we're working on, which is the bust here, which was... we just did the eyes this week, most of the eyes for now. But yeah, so this one is an actual resin. And then I think the other two are like Bones USA, which is Reaper's really high-end bones material. That's a lot like a traditional resin. Yeah, but I just don't want to use the Dragon Bust Shadow Raven. I've got it, and it's partially painted, and I've tried to paint it 2 different ways, and it's just, I've lost inspiration on it completely. So, Dragon Bust is out. I want to do something different. Sure, Quindy. If Anne paints a dragon head, here are your color selections. Red, blue, green, white, or black. Yeah, it is. It is, Julie. I just feel I've got to get away from the Dragon Bust for a little while. Sometimes, like, when you like start a mini twice and you still don't like what you're doing on it, you just need to get away from it. And starting a fresh head would be a good thing to do. It would help. It would help. I always kind of feel a little bit of letdown when I reprime a model and try to paint it again. There, just getting a nice solid coat on there. Poll is up. Fan paints a dragon head on stream. What color? Yeah, I'd have to do one with a bikini on. I don't remember if the current one is topless or not. I didn't couldn't use the old version because topless. I keep everything PG rated here. To the point where I actually did paint a bikini on a model that didn't have one in order to use it on the stream. That was the living statue. Do you guys remember? No, Kerniko, you have my choices and that's it. Hi, Mike the Shiny New. So yeah, if I paint a dragon head, which dragon head do you want? Everybody vote. I am up completely. I have no preference. I mean, maybe I have a preference. Do I have a preference? Let's see here. Everybody vote. A lot of the bright colors are definitely in the lead there, guys. Yes. I will go with the vote on this one, so if you care, don't think I'm going to blow you off. I'm actually going to go with the vote, so if you care, vote. And also, it's probably time to end the stream, even though I had that hiccup in the middle that lost us several minutes. We're at past 10 after now, so we probably should call it. And I managed to get everything at least coated with the metallic so that I can go over it. I'm going to do just another coat back here while we wait for the poll to end. To dig out my resin Maldekar. He's in a box with other resin dragons. Pretty much do not open except in case of airbrush. But I can paint just a head. It won't kill me to just base coat a head. All right, there we go. Nice and bright. Sweet. So we did actually. Oh, but what about those rivets? Anne says. Oh no, not the rivets. Boop, 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 boop. Blue wins. All right. Interesting. Well, that'll be fun. I have some ideas on that. Rivets, rivets, rivets. So many rivets. Why are there so many rivets on this, Bobby Jackson? All these tiny little dots that I have to do in metallic before the stream ends because I don't want to mix up this metallic again. Woe is me. I know. First world problems, right? Hashtag. Alrighty, almost. Just want to get these last dots. More dots. More dots. Just trying to get paint on all these little guys. Riveting model. Thank you. Hi. Oh, yeah. Prime some minis. Nice, Mike. Yeah, today is my Instagram too. My Instagram day also. I'm probably going to post. I discovered that there are a bunch of models I painted like in the last 2 years that I actually didn't put on Insta. So my goal is to update my Insta a bit by posting some of those guys, which is nice. Because right now I'm in a lot of starting a new model zone. Well, wow, guys. Like, look, guys, there's paint. There's paint on everything but the base. Oh my God. What have we done? Like, he went from like not totally a contender to like maybe a contender in a single stream. Well, okay, in the last 2 streams because we've done really a lot of work on him. Yes. Yes, my Instagram is there. I've been posting up some stuff. So yeah, he's getting there. So now we just need to throw that brown wash over next time to bring it in line with this. And then we have to throw verdigris and highlights. Verdigris and highlights. And we'll need to wash these little guys over the belt too. But wow, like yeah, he's kind of looking close to done, dare we say? Yeah, it'll go brown. It starts green, it goes brown. I like the interplay. I like doing different colored washes over the top of metallics, Merilith, to give some depth to them. So I tend to use always at least 2 colors, sometimes 3. My orcs had 3 on them. But I no longer have any of those orcs, so I cannot show you. But yeah, they had a red, green, and brown, blackish brown wash. Well, we were talking about that earlier, that mosaic, that lack of mosaic. Maybe I'll do something simple. We'll see. Yeah, no problem. But we do this every day. Every weekday anyway, Merilith. And hopefully the interwebs will continue to cooperate and not be jerky. But yeah, we have the Crafty Creative at 2 p.m. with Josh. Please, guys, come back and keep him company and help him get numbers and ask lots of questions and be awesome, because I know you are awesome. All right, I'm going to call it tomorrow. I think I'm going to say it officially. Our new model is going to be the Hairfolk. I'm just going to work with her. She'll be pretty fast, so we'll do her tomorrow. So Quindy, note to you, the Hairfolk is, 1 second, 30012. So we will work on the Hairfolk Rogue as a replacement for our Knoll. And just because I've got her ready and she's so cute. Have a good one, guys, and I will see you tomorrow.